Hey everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install a rear seat release kit in a F-150. This should apply to, I think, all of the 09 to 14 F-150s as well as the first generation Raptors. I believe these are labeled to work with some later generations of F-250, 350, so on and so forth. They probably use the same exact latch. Opening them up, they come pretty darn simple. It just comes with a little mounting bracket and then a little rear seat release strap. Some branding on that, Sporthfish with an extra H in there, I guess is the brand name for these ones. But these should just go in the same exact way as those built right ones do. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the rear seat loose. I would show you how to do that if I could, but I can't really fit a camera in there to do that. Basically there's a pin that you have to pull upwards behind the rear seat, so you have to reach down either by hand if you can, or because it's super tight, with a wrench, with a screwdriver, something like that, and pop that up in order to release it. And that's why you install these. These basically give you a strap that you can then just pull to fold down the rear seat. So I'm going to go ahead and pop into the truck, get that folded down, and show you what the installation process looks like of this. Alright, so here we are in the back of the truck, and you can see I have the seat back now folded down. To do that, what I essentially had to do was fold up the bottom of the seat. That lifts this portion of the back of the seat up and gives you enough access by hand to reach down in here, and you can feel this dowel pin here. What you have to do with this is pull this upwards. So what I did was took a 1/2-inch wrench, looped it around the dowel pin, and pulled upwards on it, and that releases the seat right there. So that's all that you need to do in order to fold down the seat back. But in order to do that, like on a day-to-day basis, or if you have anything stored behind the seat, it's a real pain. So that's why you install these rear seat releases. Now, in order to get the seat release installed, it's a pretty darn simple process, actually. All you have to do is take out 2 Torx T30 bolts, and those aren't in there super tight by any means, although I do believe they have thread locker on them if I remember correctly. So we're going to take those guys out. And now with those out, you can pull the rear seat latch out. Now, it doesn't just pull straight up, you have to actually slide it kind of up and out, and you see the latch like this. Now, the seat release bracket, you can see there's a little bit of a jog to it. Hopefully you can see that on camera, where this portion's lower than this portion. This sits up on top of the bracket here, and the other part slides underneath. So if you slide it on, somewhat like so, there we go. You can see the reinforcements stamped into the latch line up with little cutouts on the bracket, and that's how this installs. But what we need to do is actually get the little pull tab on before we do that. So you want to orient your pull tab. I would do it such that the more squared off side of the little tab here is oriented towards the bracket and the dowel pin. Slide that on up over the little dowel, and then what you need to do is take the strap right here. I want to line up the nicer looking side, which is this side in this case. This one's got loose thread and all. I want to line that up towards the front of the vehicle, so that's what I see sticking out above the seat. And then you pull that through the little slot up here, right here. So once you do that, you can then slide this down fully into place. And with this fully in place, and once it's securely bolted in, this right here cannot slip off of the dowel pin there, and the screws and everything will hold all of the whole entire mechanism into place. And you can see, you pull on that, and it pulls the dowel right there. So that's really all there is to it. And then in order to get this back in place, all you have to do is kind of hold everything together while you install it. This right here presses on the back of the seat right here, so it's a little bit more of a pain to get back into place, but you just have to line up the tab, slide it into place, which that is, and it's essentially going to hold itself into place at this point for you to be able to reinstall the screws, and that process really isn't too bad at all. Now, the one thing I'll mention is that the holes on the seat release bracket are slotted. You're going to want to make sure that you push the seat release bracket over such that this tab that's folded up here is encapsulating this enough. If it's slid over the other way, like this, you may have the chance that, you know, if you were to yank on this, you'll bend this back enough that it'll slip off the pin right there. Don't want to have that happen, so we'll slide it right there and we should be good to go. So really all we got to do is tighten back down the bracket. I'll do that off camera and then I'll show you how this latch mechanism works. All right, so we have everything tightened down now. Really simple. And then before I fold up the seat, I obviously want to check function of this to make sure it all works. All you have to do is push the latch down. That's how the seat latches into place right there. And then you pull this tab and you can see it releases the latch now. So what you'll notice whenever you fold the seat back up, and you won't be able to see the back of the seat, unfortunately, is that you can hear it's like running into a brick wall. The reason for that is that the opposite side of this latch moves on like a sliding mechanism, basically. And that sliding mechanism slides to allow the seat back to rise whenever you fold the seat bottom up, because you can fold the seat bottom up like so, right? So essentially, because that slides up and down, this is only going to latch back easily, at least, in the position that you last unlatched it. So because I last unlatched it in basically the upwardmost position, which was whenever I had this lifted to unlatch it and also had the seat bottom up, that's the way it's going to latch back. So if I do that, exactly that, it may take a couple of trial and errors to get the latch back in the spot that it should be, but right there it just latched in, and there we go. Seat bottom moves back down and everything's happy now. So what I'll do is I'll pull the camera off of its mount and show you exactly what I'm talking about with regard to how the thing releases and what I'm talking about with the sliding mechanism, and we'll wrap up from there. All right, so I'm a little cramped for room in doing this, so I apologize for kind of the weird angle and all, but this is what it looks like now that the seat tab is installed. So this is the tab that you pull to fold down the back of the seat. And you can see we pull on this and the seat back just folds right down, just like how we had it earlier. And what I was talking about with the sliding latch is this. So you can see the position that we're in, and this actually, I'm gonna have to put it back to pretty much this exact position, but just for reference, moves up and down. That's to allow the seat back to move up and down whenever you fold the bottom, like I was mentioning. So if I left it up in an up position or something and tried to fold the seat back, just like how it is, it would just ram right into the bar, because it would basically be running, let's say, this part of the latch just directly into the bar. So now that I put it back in that pretty much correct position, we should be able to fold the seat just back and run it into place, and there we go. It's nice and solid. And you just want to make sure when you fold it up, you have the tab sticking out so you can obviously use the release that you just installed for its intended purpose. But outside of that, everything's installed on this side. One point of great convenience on these newer trucks is the fact that the headrest has a fold down function. So there's a button on the side that you can push and it folds the headrest down. On my 2011 Raptor, it doesn't have that. So in order to get the seat back down, there's not actually enough room up to the roof to release the headrest. So I basically had to fiddle with the seat release prior to putting the pull strap in, with the wrench and everything, with the headrest in there, so it gets in the way. But that's all there is to it. I mean, this is a pretty simple install, and you can see, we'll look back there, there's a good amount of room behind the seat. I mean, it's not a ton, but if you wanted to store some tools back there or whatever, you can certainly do that now that you have a little bit of room. So sometimes it takes a little bit of force to get the seat back to latch, but that's pretty normal. Both of my trucks do that. Anyway, with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.